Hey everybody, and welcome back. Alright, we're under an air warning again. It's hazy this morning. All those poor buggers up in Canada with their fires. So, right, nothing much to tell you. Been out riding the Enfield. Thoroughly enjoying that. I'm doing stuff that I didn't do on the BSA. And I even had trouble with riding the modern bike, although that was more because I can't ride modern bikes. Don't like riding modern bikes. Tried, can't say I didn't try, but no, not for me. Alright, so what are we going to do? Well, I was thinking about this. This is Monday, so I was thinking about it yesterday, Sunday, while I was out here getting ready and taking the Enfield out, and I thought, suddenly struck me actually, I'd never given the footrest any thought, so I thought to myself, I had better make a list. So there it is, and I still keep thinking of things to put on it. So it's got jobs on it and it's got parts on it. So I put two little columns, look, to say whether I'd got the bits and if I'd done the jobs. So I finally got in touch with Buchanan's. I actually phoned them, and the chap there said, okay, oh, pardon me, the order's got to go in through the website, and when you do it all, there's a bit at the bottom, you put special order, and then when you come up to pay it, there's a box and you put any instructions in. He said mention about the larger rear, oh shoot, tell it's the beginning of the week, the larger front rim and the fact that I'd widened the rear hub. So I did all that, and I'm hoping I'm going to get a phone call from the say, here, what's all this stuff about. In fact, I even put that in the comments of that little box. I sort of said, you know, I did telephone because this was a special order, but I was told to put it through the website. So hopefully they'll call and query it. Oh, see, I've just thought of something else to put on there. Rear sprocket. So, what's to be done? I'm not sure what I'm going to do today. I think today the nut for the front wheel will be coming. So once that come, I'll make the last spacing piece, and then I'm going to measure the offset from the brake drum, take that wheel apart, and then both hubs are done, so I can bead blast them, paint them, and put the new bearings in. And I've got new brake shoes down on the list for both front and back. What else? No, nothing really. So I can't do that. You know what I think we might do today? We'll do a little bit of machining. Lathe and mill. We'll take the crank apart and do the little end bushing, because the gudgeon pin for the new piston is a different size than the BSA one. On the B44, unlike the B25 which you saw me working on before, there's a bronze bush, like the Triumph. I had to make new bronze bushes for the Triumph, you may remember, but that, I think, the gudgeon pin for the new pistons was smaller, so I just had to make an undersized bush, press the old ones out, push new ones in. This instance, the gudgeon pin is larger. Well, anyway, I won't burden you with that now. We'll pull the crank out, and I think, yeah, that'd be a good job to do, start with, get me in the mood. So let's get on and do that. Right then, so here is our crank. Now, first thing I've noticed about it, actually, it doesn't have the sludge trap plug in, and it looks as if the sludge trap is full. So, first thing we've got to do is take these two bearings off. Then, as luck would have it, I've made this. This is for holding this when I tighten the nut up. I have another one for the big AMC singles where this is solid, but the conrod, see, that goes in one of those holes. Here, the conrod just impinges on the hole, so I had to make this in two pieces. So that goes on Let's think, how does this work? That goes on there like that. And that goes on there. Actually, I think it's better to put that on. It goes on there, and you see that comes round and it jams up against there. So you hold this in the vise and then you can turn that. Alright, so let's get these bearings off first. Right, let's see if this here bearing extractor will get this off. This is slightly big because it's a more of an automotive one. Anything else? Oh, come on, I was hoping I didn't have to take these all the way off. There we go. There's one of them on the floor. Alright. So, you need 3 different spanners for this set. Even these bolts. One end is 7/8. And the other end is 11/16. You can't actually, that's good, isn't it? You can't even get them on. Sometimes just tightening this up enough will get the bearing off. It doesn't look as if it's underneath on that side. God. There isn't even enough to get a socket in there. Actually, this is bringing the bearing off as it is, because now it's underneath all the way around. So this bearing should pull off easily enough, see? That's getting loose. God, this is a terrible idea, isn't it? Alright, it's under the bearing. So that's going to go on there like that. Which ones of these do we want? That one. This must be boring for you. And that goes on there. Thought there was, yeah, I was going to say there's a little doodad that goes in the end of that, see? Little thing like that. Goes on there. These nuts are all close threaded, these. Oh, hang on. I wasn't giving you a very good view there, was I? Anyway, these were 5/16 of course, so I've just put a couple of nuts on. I think I've got a little bit missing out the kit, because that's got a little O-ring on it. I'm sure there's something that should go on there to hold this on. But I don't appear to have it. Alright, so let's see what happened. Yeah, that's going to turn right off there. Hang on. It's alright, it's me again. The end of this is actually hollow, and you get different end pieces to put in. Now we're in business. So that bit will go in there now. The O-rings just to help it stay in. There. Okay, we'll try again. There it goes. All right. Now that not only pulls the bearing off, but of course it pulls off the worm drive for the oil pump. And the distance piece. So let me go and put these bits for the other engine parts, then I'll do the other bearing. Now I've got both bearings off, and the bearing surfaces on both sides are very nice. So the next thing we're going to do is take the nut off, but we're not going to take it off this side. As I say, all I want to do is take this off. We're not changing the bearing, so we're not going to be changing the crank pin, because the bearing is, I mean, there's absolutely no play in it. So this side, of course, the flywheel is lined up with the hole here. The oil goes in this end. This is the timing side, so the oil goes in there, goes through a drill. Well, battery went, so I've put the new one in. Alright, what I was saying is the oil weir here goes through in here, and then it lines up with the hole in the crank pin to get the oil into the bearing. So we don't need to bother that at all, because we only need to take one flywheel off. So we're going to take this nut off, and then I can just take the conrod off with it, and then we can put it all back together again, and we won't, I'll clean out that sludge trap, but we won't have to worry about aligning the hole in the crank pin up or anything of that sort. Alright, so let me put it on the fixture. Right, so there it is in the fixture. See, as I say, that can't move now, so but the only 1 1/4 inch socket I've got is I've made it up with an extension on. So you're going to have to go and make yourself a cup of tea, and I've got to jump in the pickup and drive, well, it's about 15 miles to the automotive store, the Napa store, and there I will get myself an impact socket. So let me go and do that. Right then, it's not 1 1/4, unless it's 1 1/4 on the other side, which would be odd. It's 1 1/2, and it suddenly struck me I had an impact socket that had actually turned down a little bit to fit into there. So oh man, that is on there tight, isn't it? Ooh. I mean, that is a pretty powerful impact gun. Hang on. Well, I'm stronger than I think. I got a long breaker bar on it and it came loose. I mean, it might be that I just loosened it with the thing, and if I'd kept going it would have been alright. But anyway, actually I'm going to measure this because it might be 1 7/16. That socket was fractionally leaking. Well, hang on. The next thing I've got to do, of course, is get it out of here. But see on the edges, look. Alright, let's get set up for pressing that out of there next. Right, so hopefully you can see that well enough. I've got all the bikes inside and it's difficult to move things around. So this is on a couple of, can't remember how thick this stuff is, but anyway. It's all on there, all supported. We've got room for this to drop. I've got my face shield on just in case. Let's see what happens. There we go, in one. Did that make you jump? Always makes me jump. There we go. That's that out. There's our conrod out. Our bearing's still on there nicely. Never throw old bearings away. Don't forget, bearings are made of really, really good steel. There's the other one. It really is a nice bearing. That's on a taper. Okay. Next stage is to set up in the mill. I've got to show you this. I was just taking the rollers out so I could take that bearing off and clean everything. And one of the rollers fell out and actually went down that little hole in the bench. I used to have the vice mount, the drill press mounted there. Went down that into the cupboard underneath, so I had to take all the stuff out the cupboard to find one roller. Oh well. Right, so here we go. One conrod, one BSA, gudgeon pin, wrist pin, one Honda one piece of bronze. So, the BSA pin is 7/48, so it's basically a 3/4 one. But the Honda one is 7/86, so it's 38 thou bigger. Now then, let's write that down. Hang on, let me write that down. So the BSA was 0.748. This was 0.786. So the thickness of this bushing, or the wall thickness, is 30 thou. Okay? So, which one's it going, that one? If we wanted a bush with a similar thickness of wall, for that, that's 786 plus 30, that's 816. So let me write this down before I get. The new bush would be 0.816. So let's see how big a hole we've got. Well, we know how big the hole is, it's that, but anyway. No, I'm wrong, aren't I? Okay, let me write that down. That's 821. because I'm not adding 30, I'm adding 60. So it would be 846, right? So the new bush would have to be 846 and the eye is 821. So we'd have to open this out by 25 thou. Right, open it out by 25 thou, let's say 13 thou on each side. Whoops. Because the top of this eye isn't that thick. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Right, so what we're going to do now, pushing a very thin bush in to an eye isn't all that easy. Actually, that went in, well, that one came out reasonably easy. So what I think we'll do, and machining it is harder, is we're going to turn this to our 846, right? We'll put this in the mill, we'll bore that out, see what we get it to. Then we'll just turn a piece of this to be a press fit in that. Then when we've pressed it into that, we'll bore the centre to match the gudgeon pin. And that way we know everything's lined up and we know everything's the right size, rather than making the exact bush and then finding some, you know, it'll squish up a little bit or it might rupture when we're pushing it in, just to save ourselves some difficulty. So we're going to have to set up in the mill first, bore that out. Right then, so here's the setup in the mill. Clamped down here, clamped with both of those, and what I did was I made a little alloy piece that fits under there, that actually goes into it, so that now is exactly level front and back. I had to put a shim, actually 20 thou under there to get everything level, so we're all correct. Now what we're going to do is use the coaxial indicator to find the centre, then we'll keep it on here all the time, because it's going to be a press fit in there, but it's not going to be such a strong press fit. I'm hoping that I can use the quill to push it down in there, and then we can keep everything exactly centered correctly. So let me find the center on this first. I'll have to move you or you're going to get in the way. Now I've just set this by eye, and now so now we'll set it going. Okay, let's see what we've got. Look, that's going worse. The y-axis, so I must have got the x-axis pretty good. No, another way. Let's put a bit of pressure on this, so it doesn't roll as much. Put pressure on the gibs. That's better, now we can see it. hitting a little bump in there. As I say, there was some slight scoring in. Plus there's the holes drilled in for the oil, so it might be. One of those things like that bash plate last week. You get really close and you say, oh, just a touch. And then suddenly you're miles out. That's only... That's barely one. That's going to do. So let me lock the axes down and then we'll put the boring head in. So I think that's everything set. Everything's down tight. Put this in. I just tried it a fraction by hand there, so it's just touching. We'll get our 0, which is fortunately right on 0 there, so that'll make it easier for us. I've set the automatic feed. No, you can't quite. Yeah, hang on, I'll show you. I set the stop. For that, I've already checked that it goes down just to the bottom, and I set the stop slightly, just a few thou more. But don't forget, I've got the alloy piece underneath, and the alloy piece actually isn't solid. I don't know if I told you this, but it's got a hole in it. I bored a hole in slightly bigger than this hole, so that'll just bore down into the alloy. We've got plenty of leeway. Alright, let's see what happens. The squirty bit stopped working on that. Right, let's see. Yep, it's going. Starting to cook now. Let's speed this up a little bit. Tell you what, when I do the editing, I'll speed this bit up. Nearly made a mess of it. When I set that stop, I must have gone right down through the hole in that, and that would have been devastating, wouldn't it? So hang on. Right, I want that to go down 1.25 inches because we're just over 1 1/8 inches from the bottom of there. We can go down 1/8. So, and if you can see, the edge of that is just on there. So I'll make that go down 1 fraction more. I was miles out. I'm glad. It just seemed as if it had a lot further to go than. What am I doing here? That top bit's got to go down 1 inch. That's it. That will do it. Alright, let me finish this and I'll bring you back when I've at least done the first one. Right, that went safely down to the bottom. Switched itself off. I've checked it has gone all the way down. So, I know I'm in the way here, but this is difficult. So we're heading for 846. This is set at 0 on this. That's reading 817. Okay, so I'll keep going till I get to my 846. Right, so drop this down. I use the telescope and gauge and micrometer to get an accurate measurement, and I've actually overshot by 2 thou. It's come out at 848, but I don't mind. In fact, that's why I did it this way, because now I can make the bush to fit that hole. Right, and the hole in the piece of bronze I've got is 9. Whoops, it's all right. I just bumped into something. Is 9/16. So I'm going to drill this out to 3/4. Right, so that'll be 750, and then we'll take the last 100 out with the boring bar. But it'll have a nice thick wall and be easy to press in. I mean, I didn't want to make it sound as if it was impossible to press the thinner bush in. It isn't, but it's just, you know, as with all sorts of things, if you give yourself a bit of leeway to start with, it makes jobs easier. So we'll turn this down. Pardon me. In fact, I think I'll frog in my throat there. As I say, we'll drill this out to 3/4, and then we'll turn this down to what it should be, part it off. We'll take it down to 849. Give myself a thou to press into that. Alright, so let's get over to the lathe. So I've drilled this out to 3/4, and I've just taken a skim cut to get my 0 for the start. So I'll face this off as well actually. So let me get this done, and then we'll see about pressing it in. Right, so I did that, and the last few thou I took off literally 1 thou at a time. I was measuring it with a micrometer, but it's difficult to show you that, so 850, that's exactly what I was aiming for. That's just over 1 thou to press it in. So I'll part it off. I'll part it off a little long maybe, and then I can just ease the ends when it's in the eye. Okay, so let me part it off, and then we'll see about pressing it into the conrod. Right, well, going well so far. Let's hope I haven't given myself too much to press in here. So I've made a little mandrel to go on there like thus, and let me open you out. I made it to fit into an end mill holder, so it's all good and solid. I think I'll get enough pressure to push this in, hopefully. I mean, I've seen people doing keyways in the mill just by hand, so hopefully we'll have enough mechanical advantage. Right, let me zoom you in. Ooh, man, yes. Hey, I think I did this right. Oh, my God. You see that steam shop? Right, that's all the way in. Bugger me. See, Aid, that's what watching your videos does. I'm learning something, and that is, as I wanted it, just slightly proud, so I can ease that off a little bit. I prefer to have it a few thou long than a few thou short. Alright, let's put the boring bar back in, and we'll do this sort of a couple of thou at a time, and I'll just keep trying the gudgeon pin in it to make sure I get a perfect sliding fit. Pleased with that. Right, we're all set up again, measured everything up, set my stop. The little white mark is because I'm always second guessing myself. As I told you in the past, all this is self-taught, and that always means self-taught bad practices, if you like, mistakes. So, as you saw when I was doing it last time, I'm watching that going down and I'm thinking, oh God, no, it must be near the end. As it was, I'd mismeasured it. So what I've done is, from there to the bottom is 1.5 inches. So I've marked 1.5 inches. If I'm getting down there and I look as if I've got a long way to go, I'll stop it and check things. But everything should be right. Okay. So, let's get started again. Once more, I'll just let you see the start of this, and then I can let you run, I suppose, and speed the video up. Is it going down? Yeah. I suppose I could have set it going a little bit. Whoa! I put a little bit of drag on that with the clamp. I guess I put too much on. Alright, that's going better. There we go. Right. Now I'll lower the table so I can get in to measure this, and I know the table is 6 inches from there to the top of that look. So I'll bring the table back up. This is at the top of its travel, locked in. So when I bring the table up, I'll take that to 6 inches and I'll know all my settings are still the same. So let me do that. Alright, we're all done. How about that? There was the slightest, I think, little burr at the top, because when I first did it, it just wouldn't go in, but I just pressed and then it, so I think I unfortunately caught it before I went over. That's just a really nice, there's virtually no sideways play in it. Man. Extra glass of Glenfiddich for Michael tonight. Alright, let me take this off here. Right, so, I'm glad it's lunchtime because I need to go and sit down. I'm just overwhelmed here. Alright, we have two jobs to do. One, we have to drill those holes, and as I say, I'm going to make a nice alloy mandrel. It's a nice tight fit so that I don't punch through. But, I tell you, that is just, I didn't do that. Somebody else must have sneaked in and done that. Alright, so that's one job I have to do is, I said, drill those holes. But the other thing, and this was the same actually when I did the, what was it, Yamaha piston for the 300 conversion for the B45. This is a little bit wider than that. It's not much, it's only about 50 thou I think. So what I did with the Yam piston was I milled a bit off, because this is nice big piece of cast in, and in fact it's chamfered in, so just about if I take the chamfer off, that's going to be alright. So we'll do that after lunch. But oh man, look at that, unbelievable. Alright, time for scran. Right, I've turned my piece of alloy to fit in there. So these are quite large holes actually, they're 1/4 inch almost. Okay, there's one. And there's two. Right. Okay. So there's the two holes. And we're still nice on that. Okay, so now let's do the piston. Right, so I'm going to use just as an experiment that sort of, not exactly a scrap piston, but it's not the one that fits. So that's just the height I want it there. Now I want to grip it on the part where the rings go, because that's perfectly circular. And it's obviously the strongest piece because it's got the crown and everything like that. So I was thinking to myself, okay, I need some way to hold this. So we need the usual 3-point thing. I've wandered off because I've put something down. I don't know, what have I done with it? I just had hold of the damn thing. Let me switch you off while I find it. Alright, I wanted a V-block to hold this, so we have our 3-point thing. I put some green tape on it, look, and then I couldn't find it. Alright, so that's so it doesn't dig in, but I wanted to have something with a much better grip around this side, so I made this, right? So that goes on there like that. Come on, I just checked this. Don't tell me that tape is that thick. No. There we go. Right. So that fits in there nicely. Now when I tighten it up, that'll actually clamp it, but it's got a nice round and it's alloy. It should, I think, grip it really well, but that's why I'm using this piston. This is my test piece. So all I'm going to do is line the insides of these bosses up so they go straight across, and then I'll put the mill in, touch off. Oh, I haven't done the measurements yet. And then I'll go however much to one side and then come and touch off and go to the other side. So let me get up, set up properly. Right, so I've set this up. I used square on the lip of the vise. I'm going to square on this. Okay. So now we've got to down to there. Let's say I'll touch it off to one side, and then I'm going to take off, hang on, what is it, 90 thou altogether. That's 45 each side. So what I'll do is I'll take off 50 to each side. Hang on a minute. Alright, here we go. Touch that, 0 the DRO, up there. Do a little bit more. I've got to go down a little bit deeper as well. Across and touch off on this side. Zero this again. cover your eyes. Unlock this. Well, the clamping of the piston seemed to work fine. Out the way, and we'll have a look. See. There we go. I've given it about 10th thou on either side, so that's fine. Clamp worked, everything's good. Let me take this one out and I'll do the proper piston. Right, well, so I think that's job well done. I've put the gudgeon pin in here. That's all absolutely fine. I'm pleased with that. Alright, so that's it for this week. Well, that's it for this week's video. This was one of those instances where almost everything I had to do was videoable, whereas, you know, you get something like doing the petrol tank and that's hours of work which really you don't want to see. So anyway, next week, for next week's video anyway, we'll put this together, get it trued up and put the new bearings in the cases and probably build the bottom end of the engine up. So that's it. That's it for now. So until next week, you all stay safe and enjoy yourselves.